Hear me? Testing, 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 testing. And we're going live, everyone. We're going live. That's right. We are absolutely going live. So if you guys can hear me throughout this live stream on my phone, then feel free, if you guys can hear me, by the way, and feel free to give me a thumbs up if you can. So feel free, like I said, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. And for those who can or can't hear me, by the way, then tell me in the chat, by the way, so I'll be able to respond exactly, and just kind of look text anyway on the chat, so feel free to respond if you can. So anyway, time to do like the same thing as per usual anyway, just like turn off the mic anyway for 5 seconds. So anyway, let me go ahead and do that in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold on a second, let me go ahead and try to turn off the mic for a minute. Right about here we go. Alright, so if you guys can still hear me, like I said, give me a thumbs up if you can. And I mean, just give me a heads up if you guys can give me a thumbs up, by the way, and just say that, if my microphone's already working, by the way, throughout the signal bar thing, which hope that you guys can hear me. Which, if you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up, so that way I'll be able to want to know. So, just want to let you guys know that. And the first person that is in the live stream, by the way, is Jacob. Hi, Jacob. How's it going? And Jacob said yes. Well, thank you for letting me know, Jacob. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that, Jacob G8506. Really appreciate that. And Jacob said good. All right, all right, all right. Yeah, good thing you can hear me, by the way. I appreciate that. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. So, looks like it's gonna be another live stream time, everyone. That's right. We're gonna be doing quick chats part 14, and holy moly, like part 14, bro. Like part 14. It's just, oh heck yeah, part 14 is here. We are is another quick chats time. Which, for those who are actually wanting to know, quick chats are now actually about to keep coming on returning. Which, for once, I have no idea why it always will keep on returning, but I'd say I kind of guess I kind of love the series a little bit of this stream a little bit for doing that, I guess. But, at least I do it sometimes and sometimes a bit often. But, at least something actually does come to be, it does come to comes into mind exactly. So I'm like, yeah, it actually is something I would expect to say is like, man, we gotta continue more doing this. Like, we literally gotta keep continuing to making more out of this. Like, literally. Like, I mean, seriously, literally. Which, oh my god, bro, it's just crazy. Like, I mean, it's just freaking crazy. And, in a good way, exactly. But, at least something actually is pretty cool, though. So, if you guys do feel free to respond into the chat, then feel free to go ahead and go onto the chat, by the way. So, go ahead and feel free to respond if you guys can. So, feel free to respond anytime. So, anyways, now let's go ahead and check on the next chat we have here. Is that the next person is on the chat we have by here today? That the person's name is BHAVYABHAV HVY8 8772 says, "Bro, I need the phone 15, please." What do you mean by that? What do you mean if you said that you want like the phone 15? Like, I'm not sure if I can try to give you a phone, which I'm like, yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know, by the way, since I really don't know about that. But, if you have like, if you do have like money or something, just remember, if you want to go to a store, by the way, you can literally go get a phone, by the way, in the store. Which, I mean, I can't like physically just give you a phone, by the way. Which, that's not how it works, by the way. I'm not saying it to be mean. I'm just saying it's just not how that works, by the way. It just doesn't work that way. I mean, seriously, you just have to get your own money. Like, you have to get your own money pay, exactly, because I mean, you have to just go and try to, like, just get money, exactly. I mean, you have to just like get your own money a little bit and just consider getting a phone, exactly. This is just advice from you, by the way. BHAVYABHAVYA 8772. So just want to give you that advice, by the way. Just want to let you know, by the way, is that you can like literally like you can literally like get your own money exactly. So just remember, it's just that you can get your own money to get a new phone. So that's all I want you to know, by the way. Thank you. And just want to let you know that, okay? Just want to let you know. Just for real, just want to let you know. So that's all I'm going to tell you. But anyway, let me go ahead and read on the next chat, by the way. The next chat we have right here is Alex I mean NA. Yeah. Can you shout out me? Can you give me a shout out, please? All right, well, I'm going to give a shout out to Alex IAURBIAN. That's right. Shout out is definitely on the way, so I'm gonna give you a shout out, Alex. Gonna give you a shout out. So there you go. There's your shout out. And also go ahead and subscribe to Alex, by the way. That's on the chat, so feel free to subscribe. And it's been definitely a shout out. So again, there's your shout out. All right, so the next person we have, by the way, is MELIVAN 7684 said sup. Yo, what's up, dude? What's freaking going on, bro? What's freaking going on? And said hi. Nice to meet you. Or should I say, nice to see you? Oh, well, it's nice to see you too, dude. It's nice to see you too, man. It's very nice to see you as well. I'd say in full honesty, it's actually nice to see you too. So, welcome to the live stream, by any chance. Feel free to welcome yourself in the live stream, and we'll actually see more people come right into the live stream pretty much. Like, we'll see if more people do kind of show up, by the way. I mean, we'll kind of see what happens, by the way, if there's more people that might show up in the live stream, but we'll just see if more people do show up in the live stream, which sometimes I may expect more people, or sometimes if I don't, that's fine, but we'll see what happens anyway. But, as I said again, we'll just see what happens. Anyway, so let me just go ahead and check the chat, by the way. All right, so the next chat we have here, by the way, is the person that's MOHAMMEDHASAN is hold on. SHAZIL says shout me up. Alright, well, I'm just gonna say that it's time I'm gonna give you a shout out, by the way. Mr. MOHAMMED Hassan's SHAZIL. Yep. I'm gonna give you a shout out, by the way. So, I'm just gonna give you a shout out, by the way. So, you don't have to spam a couple times about saying it's like shout out me, by the way, but you can only say it one time, by the way. You can only say it like one or two times a little bit, and then I'll respond, by the way. So, it's all right, but again, you don't have to like spam the chat, by the way, because I mean it's gonna be a little hard for me to kind of read it a little bit, so you don't have to spam the chat, by the way. So you just don't have to spam it, by the way. So I'm just gonna let this one slide a little bit. So just remember is that just don't spam too many times, or it's gonna be a little bit kind of like a different issue. So just don't spam the chat, by the way. Thank you. So anyway, let me go ahead and read the next one, by the way, is that the next one by right here it says that's the PRONUNCTATION. Right, gotcha. All right, then, gotcha. All right, so looks like Jacob says Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom. I love that name. Like, seriously, the funniest name I ever heard right there was calling, like, saying it's like Doctor Doom. Like, Doctor Doom, huh? Man, that would have been pretty based. Like, seriously, a name like Doctor Doom is just like, man, that's funny. Like, the only thing that does kind of rhyme in my head a little bit is just rhyming right here when Jacob said that, by the way. Like, Jacob literally said Doctor Doom, by the way, And then I almost said the word Dr. Boom. Like, think about it, by the way. Think about it. Like, constantly think about it, by the way. Which, the only funniest thing I ever kind of heard a little bit was just imagine hearing the word Dr. Doom versus Dr. Boom. Dr. Boom. Trust me, it's kind of funny if you guys kind of figure it out a little bit. And it actually does rhyme, by the way. Like, seriously, think about it. Like, replace the D without, like, the D anyway, and you put the B next to, like, the O, by the way. It would be called Dr. Boom. Like, trust me, I'm actually the one who just knows about the rhyming a little bit. Like, think about the rhyming for a second. Like, if you take the D out and put the B in next to O, it actually spells Dr. Boom right there. Like, man, Jacob, by the way, I gotta say, yeah, that actually does kind of sound like the name I would say that kind of describes it. That actually describes like Dr. Doom, and then, of course, with Dr. Boom in it, which really makes it more sense, logically makes sense. So, for those again who may or not know what the logic is, then I'd say again, try to like take the D out and then put the B in there next to O. So that's why it's called Dr. Boom instead. Dr. Boom. Yeah, that's just some good sick irony, by the way. Real good sick irony. Anyway, yeah, so before we do get straight into part 14, by the way, of quick chats, by the way, is if you guys are actually ready to enjoy this live stream today. Well, this live stream is about to still, like I said again, that we're still going live exactly, and hopefully we'll see what happens throughout this live stream and see what really goes on, by the way. And I do kind of look forward to kind of like answer some questions a little bit throughout this live stream, and then pretty much like some Q&A questions, by the way, which we're going to probably be doing a lot of questions, by the way, of Q&A stuff. So for those who might actually be looking ahead and looking like completely forward to the questions, by the way, I actually would pretty much would love to get to the questions exactly. So we'll see what happens, by the way, in this live stream. Like, we'll see what happens, by the way. And I would be honest with you guys, by the way, is that, as I said beforehand, is that I actually will say that it will be about time to do some Q&A questions. And, to like give me any kind of questions, by the way. And before we even do continue along with this stream, by the way, is that, you know, as I do want to go out and say, by the way, is that, the secret live stream question, by the way, as I did mention on my community post, by the way, is that if you guys have not actually seen my community post, by the way, that's actually no be the secret live stream, by the way. Well, the secret live stream is more likely about something if I were to like interview myself a little bit and just say something that's like a very unique question and a uniqueable question just to say is like, oh, when is like the secret live stream gonna be revealed thing? Well, I'll tell you guys what is that the only thing when it's gonna get revealed, by the way, it's just gonna take the time and per usual of time a little bit, and I actually do kind of look forward to know about the secret live stream thing being released, which it's going to probably be something random or something like a very interesting question. So I'd say the secret live stream thing is just going to be a very interesting live stream, by the way, and will be like 100% a pretty good live stream. And it probably would be very, a very well honored live stream and a very interesting conversation. And, it's like if I had never interviewed myself, by the way, which I probably will exactly. And, it's going to be a pretty fun live stream on a secret live stream thing I never had done before, which, it's about like my journey through YouTube and stuff. It's like my journey from all the way exactly like, all the way back since 2017, pretty much, like 2017, all the way to 2026, pretty much. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting interview, which, as I said beforehand, is that, as myself, by the way, as a YouTuber, I'd say I actually am pretty proud I've actually made it this far, by the way, to actually continue making content for you guys and continue making a lot of great stuff as I actually you know, continue through going life exactly, and just enjoy life exactly while actually having some ups, and then maybe some good ups, by the way. And then there were some times that were actually like medium a little bit, which means on some side. Actually, they were like both good and a bit both bad a little bit. But hey, at least some of the live streams and videos were pretty good. As I would say that I think most likely my life of journey on YouTube is just very good, by the way. It's just really good. And I actually am surprised I can't even believe that as myself as a YouTuber that actually had like, made it this far on YouTube, by the way, which, I've actually overcome a lot of great things in life on YouTube, which is just like the best thing I ever had exactly, and the best thing I ever did for this channel. And actually, the best thing I ever could do is just continue moving along ahead exactly, and like moving along exactly, which seriously, it actually gave me a lot of good perspectives and a lot of ideas and a lot of great things ahead, which, I actually do continue to say that I will continue a lot more YouTube videos in the near future and a lot more currently right now and the present right now, which, it's just going to be amazing, by the way. Like, I mean, very, very, absolutely amazing. So, that's what that live stream is going to kind of be about. It's just like my journey through YouTube and a little bit of like a lot of great stuff going right ahead. And trust me, as I was kind of like a teenager back then, a little bit sometimes, even though I wasn't like kind of most likely knowing about YouTube a little bit, but over time when I always got older, by the way, as like much is that, I've actually always kind of figured more rules out a little bit and just kind of listen by the rules anyway and just, oh, I don't know, just really kind of did good and just really kind of survived pretty well at least and did a very interesting way to do that. But, I tried going to do a lot of great stuff for you guys. I actually do continue to make like a lot of stuff for you guys and for a lot more exactly. And yeah, so that's all I had to let you guys know about that. Yes, that's what that live stream is going to kind of be about. But also the name, by the way, is I actually want you guys to kind of guess on a name, by the way, for the secret live stream to actually be like a mention, by the way. And if not, by the way, then that's totally fine. I mean, we're going to just have to kind of leave that question mark a little bit on the thumbnail. But for those who might want to guess on the secret live stream, by the way, then I'll actually give you guys like, I don't know, let's just say on the timer, by the way, is that I'll actually set up a timer for you guys about like, oh, I don't know, for those who want to may actually like answer the secret live stream question is only going to be about like kind of like 4 minutes, by the way, like 4 minutes on the clock, by the way. I think 4 minutes. So it's a good thing to kind of have like a bit of extra time a little bit just to kind of like answer the question by any chance for those who want to like, I don't know, pretty much answer the question. That's totally natural and that's pretty awesome, by the way. So if I were you, by the way, I would say feel free to like, just give me like some questions and just physically tell me about like, about like the secret live stream's name. So for those who want to tell me that by any chance, that you guys have like 4 minutes, by the way, just to respond about the question about exactly about the secret live stream question. But if not, by the way, then hey, at least I'll try to add like the thumbnail anyway with that question mark. So that's all I'm gonna probably do. And also, I might actually try my best a little bit to like take the question mark out, by the way, if I can, exactly, which, as I said again, that there will probably be like a background of something I might try to do and try to like screenshot myself and see what I can do or whatever. But hey, at least we'll see what happens anyway. But, let's just go ahead and get back to the regular questions, as I will say, by the way, is that, so I want you guys to kind of know a little bit is that yes. What you guys are kind of hearing right now on this live stream is that yes, this is what the live stream is going to actually be called, by the way, on the secret live stream is like, my journey through YouTube and all the other reaction stuff I did currently in the past exactly were good ones and gaming and YouTube shorts and all other stuff, which is going to definitely be like that exactly. Like throughout 2017, all the way throughout 2026, which, or yet it probably will be 2027. I don't know. But it really, again, does depend if that's going to probably be necessarily. But, that's when my channel was born, by the way, was 2017, or pretty much 2018. I really don't know. But, as I said from the very first video I made, was definitely back from 2017. So all I want you guys to know that yes, that's when my channel was actually currently born, by the way, was that it was back in 2017. So for those who really want to know that, then that's just my answer for you guys. But anyway, let's just go ahead and get back to the regular questions, by the way. So here it is. So Jacob says, Dr. Evil. Damn, nice. Dr. Evil, huh? Yeah, that's a pretty unique name right there. Dr. Evil. Yeah, Dr. Yeah, Dr. Evil. For once, by the way, I'd say, yeah, that's definitely how you spell Dr. Evil, by the way. That's how you probably spell Dr. Evil. And also, by the way, Jacob, do you actually know, by the way, I actually have, like, Mr. Evil, by the way, is that, you actually reminded me of some character, by the way, reminded me like an actor, by the way, that I used to, like, still voice the character, by the way, which, as I did remember that you did say Dr. Evil, and I'm like, wait, did you almost actually said Mr. Evil? Like, oh my god, you almost actually, it's a good thing, by the way. I actually almost was like, no way. I was like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. That makes sense. And I know I was referring to my fourth channel, by the way, Jacob. So yeah, you were definitely like almost referring to like my fourth channel, by the way, which means it's about like Finds of Freddy's, by the way. And yes, currently, by the way, I actually get like some characters I do like maintainly voice act, by the way, which of course I actually like voice the animatronics, by the way, and of course the security guard, purple guy, and David Parks and all, which, man, you actually said, almost reminds me of Mr. Evil, by the way. Like, when you said Dr. Evil, it actually almost kind of remained to tell me that I was actually close to hear you saying Mr. Evil. Like, think about it. Like, if you take the D out from, like, next to the R, like you put the M next to R, it's Mr. Evil. And I'm like, wow. Like, something that actually give me a little bit of a rhyme, by the way, that actually sounds the same, but in a rhyme right there. I was like, whoa, that is very unique. That actually reminded me of something. I'm like, dang, that really does remind me of something, by the way, Jacob. That actually does. I'm actually being honest with you, like totally straight honest, but, I actually was definitely being honest with you right there. So, yeah, pretty much as I say that, the only characters I always do with the characters, by the way, I actually maintainly just like, I don't know, just do like the voice acting with the animatronics pretty much and characters exactly. That actually was for my fourth channel, by the way. The only characters I actually do, by the way, was like the main animatronics of the first characters were Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie the Bunny, Chica the Chicken, and Foxy the Pirate, and Golden Freddy, by the way. Yeah, it actually does remind me about that exactly. It actually does kind of specifically reminded me of that. Like, the only characters who I actually have, like, the voice actors I did, by the way, with, like, the characters who voiced the characters pretty much was, like, for Freddy, by the way, I think he voiced himself that he, by the way, was voiced by James, that it was actually currently by James. Not LeBron James. I'm like, bro, what? Like, if it would have been funny, by the way, I would have actually been kind of laughing if I would have heard that, by the way, by saying it's like, oh, if some random dude or somebody in the chat, by the way, would have said was like, wait, James? I thought you said LeBron James. Like, I thought I would hear that, I would say, but no, I guess I don't actually hear anybody by saying that. Like, bro, I literally swear to freaking God, if somebody actually said LeBron James, I would freaking laugh. But, for something I would have said, Jesus. Like, absolutely, again, holy freaking God. Like, that would have cracked me up right there. Like, seriously, that would have been funny. But, anyway, so as I said again, currently, by the way, that yes, James, by the way, not LeBron James. Not LeBron James. Not LeBron. And yeah, like I said again, total diva, which for those again, I'd say that, for people who do or don't like LeBron James, I'm just saying is like, yeah, but at this point, he actually has been quite of a diva ever since he was just like saying is like, oh, I just want to be famous. I just want to be famous. I would just want to like choose my own team. Yeah, that's kind of dumb, by the way. Which at least he finally picked one new team that he could have actually would have freaking gone to was just 70 goddamn Sixers, which was just Philadelphia. Which, Jesus, like seriously, freaking Lord. Which yeah, that's pretty dumb, by the way. And I'll be honest anyway. Yeah, for once, it actually is pretty stupid for what LeBron James was actually doing for waiting for all those other days. Like, seriously, he could have just chosen a team for his mind anyway, but until now, he finally chose something. Like, Jesus. So, anyway, let me get back to with like the voice actor that I actually did with like Freddy Fazbear was the voice behind Freddy was James. Like James. By the way, I'm talking about like currently the James, not the other name, just the James. The James that I actually did. By the way, which for those who might get confused about saying is like, oh, why are you bringing James into the question? The main reason why I'm bringing James into the question, by the way, was because currently I did got James to do the role as Freddy Fazbear, by the way. I actually did the role for Freddy, by the way, which, yes, currently I was getting James to do the voice of Freddy by any chance, which, I actually do a pretty good Freddy Fazbear impression, by the way, which, I do a really good one, by the way. So for those who might actually enjoy the sound as I do Freddy, then, I actually do pretty good Freddy Fazbear, which I do pretty good, so yeah, let me go ahead and do that. All right, so let me go ahead and do that. I'm gonna say it's like, "Hello, everybody. I'm Freddy Fazbear. Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. That's right, everybody. It's me. It's me." Man, as I said again, I do a really good Freddy voice for those who actually like the voice, by the way. Trust me, it's actually on my fourth channel for those who actually hear the voice that I just did, by the way. Yep, that's actually how I actually sound like Freddy Fazbear, by the way. Which currently I say this is just like the only Fazbear I do exactly that voice, by the way. So it's all I kind of do right there, by any chance. And looks like James said blue box. Oh yeah, blue box. I forgot. Of course. Blue box. Blue box the leader of the stupid blue team, which yeah, thanks for letting me know by the way, Jacob. So yeah, thanks for letting me know about like the leader of the blue team pretty much that is known to be Blue Box himself. But the reason I'd say that yes, I do hate Blue Box is because I think, like I said, that he does align himself with the blue team exactly, and confirmationally that he does actually take the leading role spot as like the leader of the blue team in Team Fortress. My version exactly of Team Fortress, which as I said again, for those who might be confused for knowing what Blue Box is, by the way. All right, well, I'll give you guys a little bit of some advice as a little bit of who Blue Box actually is, by the way. So, Blue Box. So, Blue Box is, by the way, he is a robotics blue sniper, by the way. He's actually a robotic blue sniper. So, for those who do not see what he actually looks like, he actually used to be human, by the way. For those who didn't notice, by the way, that should be a literally like a human as a version of currently the blue box, by the way, that actually was the class of himself, that he was a sniper, by the way, that yes, he actually was a sniper, by the way, back in the time whenever that he somehow became a robotic sniper, by the way, which yes, this is actually like currently my own statement, by the way, make my reason about who Blue Box actually is and why I even don't like him that much is because he actually was siding with the blue team, and yes, the blue team did approve him to be the next leader to lead the blue team exactly. So that's probably why I don't like the blue team, and that's exactly the point by saying is like, yeah, for Blue Box, pretty much that yes, he's currently the leader of the blue team, and he does have like a robotic voice, by the way, that actually used to not like sound robotic as a sniper, by the way, but now currently he does sound like that now exactly, which it's so funny, by the way. I never even actually revealed about his actual story, by the way. It's funny that I've never actually ever talked about, like, oh, about, like, the current story about, like, what happened to Blue Box and the story about, like, oh, if I actually were to, like, make a reveal about saying is, like, oh, if I were to like talk about like saying is about Blue Box's origin story about what actually happened to him and why did he actually become a robotic sniper, that's actually a pretty honest question, and I would say this out loud for everyone just for context by the way, is if I ever were to like reveal the origins of Blue Box of his real story that he became a robot today exactly besides not like a little human, which I mean, he was a human before, but in the aftertime, that he decided to become a robotic sniper, which yes, it's actually pretty insane. So for those who don't actually check on my Duncan Gaming channel, by the way, yes, you might actually spot him in one of my series, by the way, in seasons, by the way. If you guys could like definitely spot him in season 1 and 2, by the way, that's when you might actually see Blue Box pretty much, and you might actually see what he looks like, by the way. And, that's just what I'm going to give you guys a little bit of info and some TMI exactly for information, by the way. So, for those who want to like know about that information, yes, that's what I can give you guys about the true story about Blue Box of what his origin is and why did he became a robot today exactly. So I want you guys to kind of know about. So I want you guys to know. But anyway, so, the next person we have on the chat, by the way, we have here today is GGTYUHHGGHIJUGVVBVXDSSSS. Said hi. Welcome to the live stream, by the way. Welcome to the live stream. That's right. Welcome to the live stream. And feel free to like stay in the live stream. Feel free to stay in the live stream if you want. So feel free to like chill around and hang out with most likely with us, by the way. So hang out if you want to. So welcome to the live stream, by the way. Absolutely welcome to the live stream. And Jacob said, Blue Bot versus Blue Box. Oh, that's pretty cool. Like, for once, by the way, yeah, that's actually pretty cool, by the way. So I'd say, yeah, that's actually pretty cool, by the way. Like, imagine this for a second. Like, imagine that, yes, it would be pretty insane, by the way, by actually knowing it's like, man, Blue Bot versus Blue Box. Like, that's pretty cool, by the way. That actually is a pretty cool statement right there. That actually is like a very crafted idea. I'm like, holy mother of God, that's actually a very interesting statement. That right there. That's an interesting statement. Not gonna lie, that actually is a very absolute good statement. So not gonna lie, right there. By the way, Jacob, I actually do say that actually is a pretty cool way to kind of describe it by saying is like, oh, if it were to be like a blue bot, aka a robot, versus blue box, that would have been pretty cool. Like that would have been pretty funny. Like the funniest thing I would ever say, by the way, if it were to be like his human form versus his robotic form exactly, would have been insane. Like it would have been absolute insane cinema, by the way, which I know the blue team might actually credit him, by the way, for that. So for me, by the way, I don't know. It's just kind of a little funny when I heard that, so it's actually pretty funny. LOL. Seriously, it's actually pretty funny. Which, that's why I like it, by the way, and that's why I actually like the idea by hearing, by seeing is like, oh, if it were to be like the next crafty idea, and most likely the crafty idea I would ever hear, by the way, and most likely in that category is just seriously absolute cinema idea from Jacob. So again, absolute cinema, by the way. Which even though I don't actually like physically about Blue Box, but I'd say absolute cinema, by the way. So all I want you guys to know is that yep, it's absolute cinema. So all I want you guys to know. And speaking about that, I'm actually am going to show you guys Blue Box, by the way, on the screen, by the way. So for those who do or do not know who Blue Box is, by the way, that's probably why I'm going to show it to you guys and actually give you guys a reveal about who Blue Box is, by the way. And, like I said, he is actually a robotic sniper. So just want to let you guys know, by the way, that yes, he is currently a robot blue sniper version of himself, but more likely just a robot. And yes, he definitely has a hood on around his head, by the way. And he does have like a sniper rifle with him, by the way. So I want you guys to kind of know. So I'm going to go ahead and show it to you guys in just in a second. So anyway, just let me show it to you guys in a second. And we're going to just go ahead and just get with that exactly. So, here we go. I'm just going to go ahead and just pause the video. There we go. And I'm going to show it to you guys on screen. So if you guys want to see it on screen, then it's going to definitely be on screen. So here we go, everybody. About to show you guys, the blue robotic sniper just in a second. So here it is, everybody. And here he is. So in 3, 2, 1, 0. So anyway, here he is, everybody. Is Blue Box. So for those who do or do not see who Blue Box is, by the way, yes. Blue Box actually looks like a blue sniper, by the way, like any regular sniper, but this one is a blue robotic sniper. And yes, by the way, it's actually pretty cool, by the way, to kind of see a little bit what he looks like. And yes, I definitely did screenshot that picture, by the way, because, I definitely screenshot the picture. And for those who like this picture, by the way, I actually really did made that picture, by the way, and I actually did like snapshot the photo, by the way, and just say that that's what he currently looks like to this day, which he actually does kind of look like that. So for those who do or don't know what he looks like, yep, you guys can see the blue right there. That actually means sniper class, which means that's actually a sniper class. So for those who do not see what that actually is right there on his arm right there, yep, that's what it kind of looks like right there, which means he is a sniper class, which it does mean that he does have blue robotic eyes, by the way, like any robot that pretty much would have any of that, which, he has like a blue hood right there, like, the hood right there, and a bit of like what the rifle looks like down there, exactly with his arms right there, like you can see it from two of his hands, by the way, and, that's what he kind of actually looks like, by the way, so, yeah, that's what Blue Box actually does look like. So, anyways, if you guys actually do like the photo, by the way, of what he looked like exactly, then that's what he kind of looks like, by the way, to this day. That's what Blue Box actually looks like. And, as in for human, by the way, I have not really actually, let's just say I have not really actually went and get the human version of Blue Box. And here's you guys another question, is that have I actually got like the current, blue version of the leader of the blue team's leader? Well, for me, by the way, no. I have not actually like revealed like a human version of Blue Box, but if I were to like get a human version of Blue Box, by the way, it would be pretty good and it would be pretty interesting for the first time that we might actually ever get to see him, by the way. In my only Duncan Gaming channel in history, by the way, which I'll actually be honest with you guys, by the way, is that no, I've not actually got like an origin story for Blue Box, which I know I'm actually am going to try to work on that, by the way. And I might try to actually get it to work, which for those who do want to see the origins of Blue Box, by the way, yes, that might actually be a thing, and that might actually be a current story about why he actually died as a human, which I think the only reason he may got killed, or for some reason, was I think he did got killed on somewhere when it was like part of like the Team Fortress 2 maps or a little bit, or just for an example, or maybe somebody did kind of went after him and just instantly kind of got him at somewhere. I think it may have been pretty much been my team, or it could have been somebody else's team that did that probably, or whatsoever. But the only thing I definitely had remembered was I think, for the only reason I did figure it out, by the way, was I definitely did see, by the way, a little bit from like my Duncan Gaming channel, was I think the logic did say, by the way, that, people were making fun of Blue Box exactly, which currently, I think it was either my team or it was a different team or something like that. But the only thing I did kind of remembered a little bit from the story, a little bit on my Duncan Gaming channel, is if you guys do kind of clarify to keep looking through the episodes of every single timestamp where characters do mention about their story or mention about their current timelines a little bit, if some timelines a little bit goofed a little bit, or if some timelines were different, then yes, you guys can definitely kind of look up to that, by the way, and say, that's pretty interesting logic story, which, I always do come with best story logics and do come with a lot of great story topics a little bit, which that's what I always do. So, I always come a little crafty, by the way, and very intelligent with story ideas and a lot of other interesting point ideas, which that's why I always do. So, it's always why I pretty much do that. And yeah, so So I had to let you guys know. And by any chance, if you guys do want to see like the human version of Blue Box, by the way, I might have to look through on my laptop, by the way, which I know I might have to look through that, by the way, and check on like, oh, if there's like any current like human snipers, by the way, of Blue. That's pretty much why I might have to search up and find one exactly and see what kind of human version of Blue Box would he actually look like. And yes, there's going to be some cosmetics, by the way, of like clothes exactly. It means with hats, clothes, and weaponry or whatever exactly. It just might look like something pretty ordinarily different for those who might not see what Blue Box might look like. If I actually do choose a selection that might be a little good, then that's why I might screenshot that, and that's why I might actually say, you know what? That's actually a pretty good perfect one. That might actually be like a perfect role and a fit that actually might be a good fit for like the blue version of Sniper, but aka it's going to be Blue Box exactly. So that's all I wanted you guys to kind of know, by the way, for the idea and for the fact that the idea is, it's pretty cool to kind of look back into something where it's like, if it's like currently like human form versus robotic form exactly, it makes more sense. It actually does tell me a, and it probably might tell you guys the same thing too, which, we can all agree for one thing exactly. It does come to say it makes a lot more intelligent sense, to kind of know why about all that. So, for those who want to see the origins of Blue Box, yes, that might be a thing, and I might try at least to get that one out, by the way, by the time when I say it's going to kind of take some time, of course. But anyway, let me go ahead and just get straight back to the chat, by the way. So Jacob said Blue Bot won my OC. Oh yeah, that would have been pretty interesting, by the way. With you actually adding like another OC, by the way. If you actually did made an OC, by the way, with like the blue bot exactly, that probably would be a very interesting amount of sense a little bit. That probably would make some interesting sense, but I think it probably must be a little bit cooler if you actually did say the red bot. I mean, red bot, exactly. That would have been like a pretty interesting idea. I might like the red bot better than a blue bot anyway, but it's fair. I'd say that's personally fair and a personally fair give and take exactly. So it's a give and fair take exactly. It's very likely definitely a fair give and take. And speaking about that anyway, so yeah, so that's what Blue Box looks like on the screen. So if you guys actually do know what he looks like, then that's what he actually kind of looks like, by the way. So there you go. So, anyways, let me just go ahead and just show you guys a little bit of something where I actually did made a few videos. So, for those who didn't see like the videos earlier, by the way, is that I actually did finally got some videos out, by the way, which for real, by the way, I actually did got some videos out, by the way. And yes, it actually is for real that I definitely got some videos out, by the way, on my main channel, which I do kind of like main focus a little bit about like some reactions a little bit. And oh yeah, as in for like the Blood Bear arc mystery thing, is I want you guys to kind of know and give you guys another certain update thing, by the way, before I even do talk about that mention, is that, we're actually kind of a little closer to kind of get that out, by the way. Trust me, I am actually this a teensy, almost 100% teensy done to get that out, by the way. And I mean, I'm almost getting close to get that reveal, by the way, to actually consider revealing the truth about Blood Bear. And for those who do not know who that character is, yes, he is actually from the Statue 37 arc, by the way, which, as I said again, that there is going to be a reveal pretty soon, and there is going to be something that's going to kind of actually happen. So if you guys are looking forward for me to react to all of that, by the way, then yes, I know I might have to add a bit of the rules and a bit of like the warning signs a little bit for you guys to kind of know. And yes, there is going to be some skip options a little bit for me to skip, which, as long as like I do kind of look on the timestamp, by the way, to kind of prevent like, oh, if I don't get like, if I don't just get like that, by the way, because I know I'm referring to YouTube, by the way, which, I don't want to get like, it means that I might not be in a good sign, by the way. So as long as, like I said, I do keep it natural, by the way, and keep it positively natural throughout the whole thing, exactly. But it depends, like I said, if I do get the whole thing done, by the way, and almost likely a lot of mystery talks and a lot of interesting conversations. Then we'll see what happens, by the way. And yes, it's gonna be the most disturbing it's going to be like the most disturbing FNAF arc we might actually see in real time. So for those who might not see when that's going to be like considered being taught, by the way, yes, it's actually going to be considered in a reaction. And yes, I know it's going to be pretty disturbing. So for those who might see the most, by the way, for those who are not older enough to watch the video, by the way, then I'd suggest not to kind of watch it, by the way, because it's going to kind of actually be a lot of screaming, a lot of gore, and a lot of deaths. Exactly. That's going to be more disturbing than currently the game, which I mean, it's going to even be more disturbing than the actual Five Nights at Freddy's game. Like, it's going to be the most disturbing one we might say is it's like from a meme where the guy says, like, oh, hell no. Like, yeah, that's going to be the guy who might actually say that, which, that's just for you guys to kind of know what that expression would have kind of looked like exactly by saying is like, oh, the person would say is like, oh, hell no. Like, yeah, that's probably why. For that reason. That's probably why. Yeah, that actually is a main reason to say that, yep, that's probably why. That's probably why that actually makes a lot of sense to explain it. So, that's probably why. And speaking of that, by the way, exactly, is that the true main question is about like the FNAF arc stuff. Is that no, I've not actually considered reacting to that right now, by the way. But let's just say I do have like a few videos left, a little bit, just to kind of move by part of the numbers, by the way, which I actually am getting a little closer to kind of get somewhere, by the way, and actually kind of reveal about all of the FNAF arc a lot and a little bit on the Century 37 arc thing, which for those again that I know, the intro is gonna be like copyrighted thing, which I know I might have to mute that probably, which I don't know if I can try to mute it, but as I said again, I think it was a pretty based intro and a pretty based music back in the time, like the old SFM. Like seriously, for those who have paid attention about the real Statue 37 content, seriously, I actually like the intro. The intro has like a good banger in it. It has like the best bangers, by the way, I ever listened to ever since it was like, oh, back into like the Spanx model. And I actually like the models of that. I actually liked it because, I've always liked the older ones better of like saying is like, bro, it's so freaking peak. Like, actually, yeah, it does kind of look like that. And it actually looks amazing, by the way, which, yeah, I do fairly respect the older models and newer models alike, which I actually do that, by the way. But sometimes when it's going to be always a bit, let's just say a bit over related exactly and under related, it actually tells me two different stories a little bit by saying is about explaining about the models of the characters of saying is like the newer models versus the older models. I actually will be fair enough to say as a YouTuber, by the way, as a FNAF fan exactly, I'd say it's pretty good. I like it. And I had to say that there's nothing wrong with other models that actually may kind of look good and some may look crappy, but like I said, it does look good. It actually does look good no matter what exactly. It does actually look pretty actually good as a character of Five Nights at Freddy's that it does look pretty good. So, you know, that's all I have to let you guys know about. And anyway, so as I can tell you guys, when the FNAF arc thing is going to be revealed and talked about on the reaction, yes, I know I might have to add a warning sign for everyone and explain exactly for those who might want to be older, exactly to watch all of that exactly. Then yes, I might have to talk about that exactly. And for those that might be disturbed about like, oh, the shipment between Bonnie and Foxy, I'm going to say like, yuck, like gross, like for the reason I'd say I just don't kind of like the shipping of Bonnie and Foxy, which, I don't actually don't hate them being as friends. I like them being as friends, not actually like lovers or anything. It's just kind of disgusting, by the way. It just reminds me about like something different that I don't kind of expect too often, but it's just that sometimes it doesn't matter exactly what matter the times I'd say. It's just kind of bit off a little bit and it's kind of a bit odd, which it's my opinion. So remember, if it's my opinion, then it's just kind of my opinion. So it's all I want you guys to kind of know about. And yeah, for the reason I'd say that I will skip a few timestamps away, like if something were to be a little bit for me not to be too to not handle too much of it exactly because I mean there is going to be a limit sometimes where somebody says like that's kind of likely too much exactly, then I might have to kind of skip it, by the way. But you guys can like watch the original topic of that, by the way, and kind of see it for yourselves. But for me, it's just kind of like disgusting. But if I were to say this as a main Foxy favorite character, by the way, I'd say the ship I only like, by the way, is Foxy and Mangle. I like Foxy and Mangle because, I respect that ship. I love that ship, by the way, of the FNAF shipping, by the way, is Foxy and Mangle because, they actually deserve to be actually the best ones I ever will see, by the way, and say that I think they deserve to be a ship, by the way, and they still do to this day, with like the whole FNAF community exactly that I still like Foxy and Mangle being a thing. Yes, I actually 100% say that yes, it actually is for me. I'd say yes, totally 100%, absolutely yes. Because like I said, I definitely do respect my preferences and all, which, I do respect my preferences and about like, oh, the characters what I like, female characters exactly like the characters like Five Nights at Freddy's, of course. Well, yeah, I actually probably am gonna say that, yep. For 100%, I'd say Foxy and Mangle. Absolutely 100% shipped, which I always like the shipping, by the way. And they're actually a pretty good couple anyway, so I'd say it's a pretty good couple, and I actually love it, and I do like it for the face of the fact I was saying is like I always like the shipping, by the way, of the characters. I like it, and I say 100% all in my heart, by the way, right here exactly in my heart, which I'd say yes. I like the Foxy and Mangle shipping. It's just that I love it. I always like it because the main reason why I say I love it, by the way, it's about charisma exactly because it's about like the whole charisma thing. It's like if they kind of do sound something that they match and they like exactly for something like, oh, if the characters do match on something about like their personalities, it means that the shipping actually makes sense. And it actually is the best one I would say out of all exactly is the best one I would say. Now, about Bonnie, by the way, let's just say I kind of prefer Bonnie as a friend with Foxy, by the way. More likely as a friend, not the other way around, because it's kind of, let's just say I'm not going to describe it, but I don't want to sound too offensive exactly, but I'm just trying to say, let's just say this in a positive note, by the way. I kind of prefer Foxy and Bonnie being more likely best friends and buds exactly. I prefer them being friends, which that's why I would prefer saying it's pretty cool to kind of say that yes, I would consider having Bonnie and Foxy being friends because I think it's kind of better just for them actually being friends. So I'd say it's kind of a better note to say and describe that, it's just better off to kind of leave it as them being friends. That's all. And the only characters I want Bonnie to kind of be shipped, by the way, is either Chica or just Toy Chica in general. But, I prefer saying Chica. Yeah, I think I prefer like the classic Chica, over than Toy Chica exactly, which I do kind of understand that sometimes people would say is like, oh, why don't you like the shipping between with Bonnie and Toy Chica? I kind of say they're a mid ship, by the way. They're kind of like mid a little bit. They're actually mid as a shipping thing. But I still kind of prefer Bonnie and Chica anyway, actually, or just Freddy and Chica in general. But who knows, by the way? It's just sometimes that things are going to kind of be random a little bit with like characters being in ships, by the way. It's kind of random. Like, you just have to like think about it and like think randomly a little bit and say who would actually physically be in a random shipping, by the way, is either between with two digital characters that's just like Chica and Toy Chica, by the way, with Bonnie exactly, which I think I'd say that's fine with Toy Chica being with Toy Bonnie. I still kind of think that's okay, by the way. But when it comes to something that's a little different, it's just that, yeah, I think I just might want to back away from that and just say that might be too less to handle that anyway. But, I still kind of respect some different sides of different shipping anyway. At the end of the day, I always will respect that at the end of the day and say that, if I'd say if to criticize something, I may not like it then it's just that, bro. It's just a criticism. I mean, you have to handle the criticism, right? Because I mean, it's my opinion. Because if I'd say it's my opinion, then you respect my opinion. That's it. Like there's just nothing else to say out of it. But anyway, looks like Jacob says, "What the fuck? What? What? See? What? Jacob said, Toy Foxy, aka Mango X Sprain Trap. Wait, what? No way. Oh, hell no. Ugh. What? Mangle and Springtrap? What? 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 Okay, this is what my reaction when I say it was like, what? 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 I'm like, what in the world is just what? Toy Foxy, aka Mango X Springtrap? Oh, for me, I'm gonna say, oh hell no. I'm gonna say it's like, oh hell no. Yeah, no, 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 no. Sorry, I know I'm gonna say a lot of no anyway because I know. I'm gonna say that anyway. I'm just gonna say almost 50 or 60 times with me saying the word, oh, no, 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 no. I mean, okay. For the reason I'm going to go jump right back in here anyway, is for me jumping back in this question, is that, okay, so, okay, I'm about to calm down a little bit. So, Mangle and Springtrap, huh? Okay, so before I say anything in the question with you guys in the stream, by the way, is that Foxy and Springtrap. Okay, so the main question I'd say this is kind of a little bit of a bottom tier thing. It's just like, okay, for some reason I do not kind of like the shipping between Mangle and Springtrap. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of a bit off because you guys see it's kind of a bit off, by the way. So the main reason why it's a kind of bit disgusting and a little bit kind of not a good shipping to kind of ship with Springtrap, by the way, because I'm like, yeah, I'm good, I'm good. Oh, we got another person in the chat. Welcome, see you. Welcome, Mary. Welcome to the live stream, Mary. Welcome to the live stream. Hi, I'm back. How are you? I'm doing good, by the way, Mary. I'm actually doing good, by the way. Thanks for coming into the live stream. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming right into the live stream, even though that it was kind of like 57 minutes late a little bit, but I'd say, better than late, exactly like late than ever, exactly. But thanks for coming right in the live stream. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, so looks like Mary said I just came in to say hi cuz it's 12 a.m. in Italy. Yo, you're in Italy? Let's go. Italy. Oh, I actually have to say Italy. Let's go. I mean, I don't say anything bad about Italy, but man, Italy is just really good place out there. Holy God, that's actually a pretty good place out there, not gonna lie. I mean, not a very bad pick. I'd say it's a very good choice. Like, living in Italy, that's actually pretty cool, by the way. That's actually pretty cool. Like, you get to have like pizza over there, have like Italian food. Like, man, that actually is so based. Like, absolutely 100% based a lot, which is definitely based. Which, I mean, for people who actually definitely been to Italy, oh my God, that actually is amazing. That actually is crazy to say the least, which is absolutely amazing. So, man, holy freaking God, that's amazing. And, I actually do want to say thank you for bringing the question up, by the way, Mary, by the way. Thanks for bringing up the question exactly. Definitely appreciate the question. And Mary said yes. Ha ha ha. I know, it's pretty funny. And it's pretty much likely that, exactly. We have fried pizza. We had fried pasta, pasta pizza, fried vegetables, and EXC, and more etc. I know it's awesome. Like it's pretty crazy. Other than apologetic, other than politically, it's a really good country. I know, right? Exactly, exactly. Like yes, for once that we all can agree that Italy has like the best Italian food. Like they have like good, literally good food out there that I never even tried. Like, for once if I were to go to Italy, that would have been crazy. That would have been pretty sick. That would have been pretty absolute cinema, by the way. If I actually ever went to Italy, damn, that would have been pretty good. Like, damn, really good place over there. Like, damn, damn, damn. Like, man, that would have been pretty cool. That would have been like the best thing I would ever see, by the way. If I were to go to Italy, by the way, that would have been pretty cool. That would have been absolutely amazing. So, yeah, that would have been pretty amazing sometime. And someday I would go to Italy sometimes. If I were to go to Italy someday, I'd say, hell yeah, I would definitely go on ahead and go to the bandwagon and definitely head on a train and definitely go to Italy if I ever were to spend a few nights in Italy, which seriously, that's just freaking crazy. Like, that's really crazy. But yeah, that's actually a pretty good question. I like the question right there. Absolutely good question, Mary. Good question. All right then. All right. So anyway, back with a shipping topic about Mangle and Springtrap. So yeah, back to what I was actually saying before. I was about to still continue back with a question here. Oh, looks like Mary said I recommend you more places than the simple Rome and Milan. You could go to F Friuli. It's beautiful mountains and stuff like that. Or Sardegana. My son really likes FNAF too. I know, right? We all could think that Scott Cawthon did an amazing job on those games, which I mean, yeah, I would say I never met Scott before, but if I were to meet Scott Cawthon for the first time, I would say, holy God, that actually be pretty cool. Like, the coolest thing I would ever get to meet, like, certain people of, like, like YouTubers, exactly like best YouTubers and the creator, like, exactly for like whatever exactly basically if I were to like meet other creators exactly if I were to meet any of them that would have been pretty cool. That would have been like the best idea I would ever see, by the way. That would have been pretty amazing. Exactly, like, that would be pretty cool, and I would say that would be absolutely amazing sometime. That would be amazing. And yeah, I definitely did kind of watch the live stream earlier by Markiplier. That I definitely did watch Markiplier's live stream, by the way. That he did play FNAF World, and I'm like, no freaking way. Like, man, it was about time that he actually played the game. Like, it was kind of about time that he played the game, which I think Markiplier actually was pretty based exactly, which, seriously, Markiplier is just really based. Like the dude is actually freaking based. Like he actually always encounters every freaking time when he always says something that he has to say. We all know what he's gonna actually say because that's crazy and that's actually simply crazy. And I'm like, man, that's actually pretty cool from what he actually does, by the way. Really good, actually. Very good. Which I mean, really good. And Mary says, it looks scary to me, but he really likes FNAF and a game, B, a girl that gets lost and falls in a plot hole. I think the name is Undertale if I'm not wrong. Well, you're actually not kind of wrong right there, but no, I've not gotten to Undertale, which I did heard about the characters about Undertale, about Sans and Papyrus, which I do kind of know about Sans and Papyrus by any chance, which I do know what those two skeleton characters are, by the way, which I actually have to say that, yep, I do actually know about Sans and Papyrus a little bit well, but from the game, not really played it. But I might play it somewhere sometime in the future, maybe. I don't know, but that kind of depends if I were to like play it sometime. But that's a very good question since I never actually came across to Undertale anyway. I never came across to that game. But if I were to like play it, I'd say, yeah, that actually is gonna be a pretty cool game. And a good second, by the way. That would have been pretty good in a hot damn minute. I would say that would be pretty good. And that would be amazing. I would actually say 100% pretty good. Yeah, 100% pretty good. Anyway, so yeah, so I definitely I watched the live stream for those who actually didn't actually really know that I actually did watch the live stream, by the way, of Markiplier playing FNAF World. So for those who didn't see Markiplier playing that game, by the way, man, I encourage you guys to go check that one out, by the way. And yes, I did play FNAF World, by the way. Like Jesus, it's been so long ever since I ever not heard in FNAF World for the longest time. Like that was like a long decade ago I've ever played FNAF World. Like, man, that was back when I was at my dad's house, which I'm like, seriously, that was way back when I was at my dad's house playing that game. And I actually even played it. And I actually had to say the game was good. The most likely amazingly all that's good. Like the only characters I had to counter was of course getting all characters exactly and beat like Chica's Magic Rainbow, which I'm like, seriously, that rainbow was so freaking sassy. Like the rainbow from Chica's Rainbow, by the way, is so freaking sassy. Like seriously, super sassy. I mean, whenever like the character that gets to challenge the rainbow of Chica's rainbow. Seriously, she is just so sassy, and every freaking way in the boss fight at the end is just so a little difficult for me to kind of know why she was just so difficult. And trust me, if I ever did play Chica's Magic Rainbow again, trust me, I almost had screamed if I ever got hit by that, by one of those attacks, by the way. Like, seriously, those were like the outrageous hard ones that almost ever had ever played it, by the way. I'm like, good God, I do not want to jump all over that now, which, man, that is crazy. Like, I can't believe I just even remembered it. I'm like, oh Lord, I can't believe I seriously remembered about Chica's Magic Rainbow. Good God, that one was so hard to beat. Like, that one was so hard to pass. But yeah, that level, by the way, was so the shit, and it was so the hard to actually pass. So for those who did not know that, by the way, yeah, that one was super hard to beat. And looks like Mary said, well, it's my time to go to bed. Good night. All right, well, good night, by the way, Mary. Good night. And, take care of yourself in Italy. Take care of yourself. And, go ahead and just, like, take care of yourself and your son, which, I'd say, have a good night in Italy. So, good night in Italy. Good night. Anyway, back to the conversation about like the whole Mango and Springtrap shipping, by the way, which I was going to get back to that, but I was going to get back to that anyway for a second. So, anyways, let me go ahead and jump to that topic anyway. So, anyways, back to the topic where I'm going to say that yes, Mango and Springtrap, the shipping is just so disgusting. Like, seriously, if you guys actually do search that up on Google or on YouTube, trust me, I encourage you not to see that, by the way, because that's kind of disturbing in my opinion, which I know that Mango, yes, I know that she was getting torn up by the kids. I know that the kids were pretty rough with Mango anyway, because by tearing her parts down a little bit, I'm like, Jesus, like Mango didn't deserve that. Like Mango never deserved any of this. Like seriously, she didn't deserve to get torn apart around. I'm like, Jesus, the kids are so brutal. I'm like, wow, those are naughty kids. Like, holy God. Like, seriously, the kids were so freaking naughty. Like, I can't believe why they actually would even do that to Mango. I'm like, seriously, Mango didn't do shit. Like, Mango didn't actually do anything wrong to the kids, which I know it involves with the bite of the 83 or 84 or whatever. I know that the bite still exists to that day. I'm like, seriously. That's just insane. Which I know that the only insane logic of every theory is either pretty much three different theories, by the way, is pretty much likely is Fredbear, which we all know that Fredbear did the cause of the 87 part, which, yep. For once in FNAF 4, by the way, in that cutscene, yeah, that's when Markiplier said was like, was it the bite of the 87? I was like, oh my god, that cracked me up. When he literally freaking said, was that the bite of the 87? Oh, 87. Jesus. Like he literally somehow kind of actually mentioned it. I'm like, what did he say? I was like, wait, what did he say back there? Yeah, 87. Oh my god. To this day where he actually said it to that day, I'm like, wow. Like, wow. For once, I'm like, wow, wow, and wow. Just freaking wow. But for real, by the way, that was pretty insane. Incident, by the way, which was definitely pretty insane. So I'm like, Jesus, that's just so freaking brutal. But yeah, that's literally brutal. And speaking of brutal, by the way, let me just go ahead and get back to the next, the bite of the other part, by the way, was that, Foxy did kind of actually bit the another kid's head off, by the way. Which for those who I want to actually give you guys another example, by the way, was that my boy Foxy didn't kind of deserve to kill someone on stage, but what to the cove, by the way, and my boy Foxy was like entertaining the kids, but until somebody was looking in the shadows, I think it was either a purple guy or aka Willem Afton, which we all hate that bastard. Seriously, that dude actually was the freaking killer of the slaughter the whole freaking time. Like, Jesus, like the dude is so crafty that he comes up with a lot of kills, a lot of suits. Like he's like invincible to kill. Like seriously, he's like invincible. Like that invincible. I'm like, Jesus. Like the dude has to come with a lot of ideas in a lot of ways where he actually starts like making animatronic suits for like for instance, like the children getting killed by the suits, by the way, where they're possessed of those characters is like, man, how crazy does anybody, like, I mean, literally anybody, get smarter every time when he does that? Like, how many times does Willem Afton have to continue to keep coming back? Like, seriously, the dude always comes back for every main reason he does. Like, yeah, that's a lot of example to kind of say, Jesus Christ. I mean, let's put that in the chat and spam that in the chat. But I'm going to say is like, put the word by saying is like, holy Jesus Christ. Literally in the damn chat. And Jacob says, oh my God. Why, God? I know, right? Exactly. Exactly. Yes. I know. It's crazy. It's crazy to describe that question. It's so freaking really crazy. Like for real, man. I would be in your situation, Jacob, if you said was like, oh my God, why? Like, yes, same reason for me to say it to you. Same question and same reason as always. But good lordy. I'm like, good lord again. Like, good freaking lord. Which actually, yes, good lord already. Good freaking lord. But, as I said that, yes, Purple Guy is crafty and a genius who has intelligence, by the way, that create animatronic suits, which it is pretty insane. So I do kind of feel bad for my boy Foxy that did took the bite of another child's head off, by the way, which yes, it was currently the same situation as Fredbear, but different in the cove, which I'm like, oh no, you leave my boy Foxy out of this. You leave my boy Foxy out of this, god damn it. Oh my god. Oh my god damn it, why Foxy would you bite a person's head off? Oh my god, poor Foxy. Yeah, that's my reaction when I say poor Foxy. I'm like, bro, what did he do? Like, I know that the same character would actually done the same thing, but yeah, poor Foxy. I'm like, good God. Anyway, so here comes the next theory about Mangle, by the way, that yes, Mangle also bit another kid's head off too, by the way, in the second location as well. Which I mean, there has been like 3 or 4 bites of the most likely of the 80s probably. Was like I think it was like 3 or 4 incidents that probably did happen with those incidents or something like that. But I'm like, oh God, how did I not see this from before? Which, yes, it's also like the game and of course SFM, maybe the logic, by the way. Yeah, probably so. And probably that. Which, that is insane. It probably is most likely the most insane thing I would ever hear. So it's pretty insane. Trust me. For those who want to like look up that, by the way, but the different incidents of the 80s probably, yeah, those might probably been real or those might been probably fake or something, but I don't know. I guess I'm just saying I'm making my guesses, by the way. Yeah, definitely so. Definitely so. But anyway, so as I said again, currently, by the way, no Mangle and Springtrap will not be a thing, which I know people would say is like, oh bro, it's a thing. I'm saying is like, nah, that's disgusting. Like, I mean, seriously, Foxy deserves to be with Mangle. Well, pretty much Springtrap, I don't know. I think Springtrap might be with ending up with like another female character probably. I don't know. I think it would have been a little bit more of a odd thing I would actually describe it, by the way. But I don't know what Springtrap would actually be shipped with, by the way. I don't know. But that's the main question I would say, by the way. I think Springtrap might be shipped with either a um Ballora, probably, like Ballora actually. I think Ballora might actually be a good ship with Springtrap, probably. I don't know. But I guess that's a main question where I can probably hear it about. Which I do know that people did say that Ballora was actually the mother with currently with William Afton probably was just like, dude, that's insane. Like that's literally insane. Like the only thing I know what insane how sounding that actually is, it actually brings me about a lot of FNAF 4 and sister location vibe a little bit. I was like, oh my goodness, like oh my god, that actually tells me a lot for why Ballora actually reminds me of somebody else, which I was like, oh yeah, but over time I was kind of knowing what was going on, which I was like, Oh man, how did I not remember that? How did I not actually remember that Bolor used to be William's wife? I'm like, yo, wait, what? Like my reaction's like, yo, wait, what in a minute? I'm like, wait, what? Like I know a lot of people say that yes, it's currently true, but for me, I'm gonna say that yeah, I'm gonna take their word for it. And I'm gonna say it's like holy absolute shit cinema. But yeah, that tells me a lot of things. It tells me a lot to know why about it, but in some reason, holy God, and that actually tells me more sense about it. So, yep, pretty much tells me about that. Anyway, next question by Jacob8506 said, Puppet X Springtrap and put like the put the barf emojis. I'm like, I know, yes, I know, right? Yes, like that's disgusting. Puppet and Springtrap? Oh hell no! I mean, let's put that in the chat by the way by saying it's like, oh hell no! Like, yeah, I mean, let's put all that in the chat, which I mean, I don't know why, but I'm just gonna say, yeah, I mean, everybody else right now in the chat would definitely say the same thing because we all would say, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. But yeah, yeah, so let me get back to the point anyway. So let's get back to that jump anyway. Is that the only thing I don't kind of like right there was that Puppet X Springtrap. Yeah, that's not another good idea. I'd say the only options I kind of prefer liking a little bit is maybe say that Springtrap and Ballora, yes. Springtrap and Ballora, actually, yes. That actually would be a very safe ship, by the way. I currently would say that yes. That shipping would be a lot better. That Springtrap and Ballora would definitely be a thing. Yes. I know, like I said, I know they have their history a little bit, which I could understand about the history about that question was that, that yes, pretty much like we Miss Afton pretty much, or should I say Miss William Afton pretty much would have different arguments with William Afton himself, but that tells me a lot of things exactly by saying is like, I wonder why they actually got married for some reason, or even had a bit of like kids probably. I think that probably tells me I'm like, Jesus, imagine marrying a killer that's named William freaking Afton. I mean, dude's lucky. I'm like, holy crap. Like, dude is actually lucky. Like, the dude's actually lucky to pretty much be with Ballora. And I'm like, Jesus. Like, yeah. Tells me other things about that, which it tells me a lot more about it. So, yeah. Tell it is, and tell it's like always pretty true. But, in my mind, I'd say that's true. That's very true. That's pretty true, 100% absolute cinema true. Absolutely. Absolute cinema true. And Sigma as well, definitely. So anyway, back with the topic where I said that I'd say that no, I don't think Puppet and Springtrap would be a thing ever since they will never be a thing because I know people would say it's like, oh, they are a thing, man. You just didn't see it. I'm gonna say it's like, okay, first of all, I'm not gonna check that on Google. If I were to check on that, I would definitely would have been off recording if I would have checked that. But second of all, again, I would say, yeah, no, I'm gonna say that that's disgusting. I would never prefer Puppet or Springtrap to be a thing because I prefer like Puppet being a dude because of course we all know that Puppet is a guy pretty much. That in SFM logic that yes, that probably tells me a lot about it, which is definitely true by any chance. So yeah, it's pretty funny a little bit to kind of notice why about it any second. So it kind of tells me why about it. So yep, tells me about it. Tells me like a lot about it. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue back on with the chats for a second. So looks like Jacob was like responding, most likely amount of like responding by saying he's like right here says I'm okay. All right, good. All right, that's good. And said kid 5 years old. All right then. And Jacob said good. Not kill kid. Well, I think William Afton already did pretty much exactly by the children that yes, he did kill pretty much the children in the 80s, which yes, he probably did that by the way in the games or in SFM logic. For those you didn't see by the way, Jacob, check on the SFM logic and the game logic that yes, he did kill him in the aftermath a little bit before the child's head was actually near Fredbear's mouth, by the way, which pretty much, yeah, that actually tells you why about it, which makes a lot more sense in theory. That makes a lot more sense. And for those who are saying is like, hey, are you like game theory or something? No. I mean, what? Why sound like game theory? Like, what would even sound like game theory? Which, for once, I know that the guy actually did retire, which I know that he retired, but kind of give it like a different spotlight to a different person. But I understand that. But yeah, for those who might tell me by saying, like, you actually almost sound like game theory. Well, not really. Kind of sound like a little less like game theory, but I don't kind of certainly currently sound like the guy actually of game theory, but I don't kind of sound like him. But yeah, it tells me a lot about it. So it tells me a lot. But back to the logic where I did say that yes, that William Afton was the 1987's killer. That yes, he was like the 87's killer. That he did kill the children, aka the kids, pretty much, which it tells me a lot about. So yeah, William Afton is just a bad person, pretty much, and also a bit of like a smart genius in different ways where I can describe that. Yes, in some opinions where I can agree with about William Afton, aka and Springtrap, pretty much, that would make more sense to know why. That yep, it tells me a whole lot. So pretty much it does. So anyway, let's go ahead and most of the questions since we're definitely gonna go right ahead and continue back with other questions. So the questions I am about to go ahead and say that we're about to move right along to the next question here. So here's you guys' next question, by the way, is that I actually do want you guys to know about something. Is that did you guys know I actually reacted to the Friday Night Funkin' movie? For those who didn't see the Friday Night Funkin' movie, it's on my channel, by the way. You can check out part one and part two, by the way. And also, here's a funny thing, by the way, that my phone was actually gonna die, like nearly at 6 or 5% down. Like, it was like 6 or 5% of the percent down. Like, I actually did get the right timing, by the way, before that would have happened. I was like, oh no, trust me. If I would have saw that percent went down, by the way, trust me, I would have lost all my work. I would have like almost lost all my progress through that video. Like, I would have lost all of that progress. I would have freaking lost it. I'm like, oh God, no. Please don't tell me I have to restart all of that again. Which, the craziest thing, by the way, it's just that, if my phone were to ever go down at 0%, if I didn't get, like, the whole reaction done and, like, you know, um, that is the Friday Night Funkin' movie, man, I would have lost all my good stuff right there. I would have lost it. I would have actually freaking lose my marbles if I would have like saw my battery percent going at 5 or 6% of the battery, which I know it might went down to 3. But I was like, oh god, that's when I would have to stop the video because, well, I didn't have enough time to kind of end the whole video, but I actually did end the video. And no, I did not went to mods because I know people would say is like, yo, you gotta go check out the Weedy one. You gotta check out the other ones. Yeah, for me, I'm gonna say is like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. Like, I'm good, by the way. I'm good. Like, if I said I'm good, by the way, it means I'm good. So I don't need to, like, basically check on the mods anyway. I don't need to, like, physically look onto that. But, I'm just going to kind of say I'm going to take the pass card, by the way, because, I'm going to have to take, like, the pass card anyway with, like, the pass card. So I'm going to say it's like, pass. I'm going to say it's pass. But, I think, like I said, the whole Friday Night Funkin' movie from week 1 all the way to week 7 was, like, the best one I ever reacted to, by the way. And yes, they were actually pretty funny, by the way, and they were actually pretty good. And yes, I know that boyfriend, for some reason, actually was talking like a lot of filler stuff. I was like, Jesus, get to the freaking rap battle, dude. Like, get to the freaking battle already. Like, Daddy Dearest was right one thing again. He said, was like, just start the freaking song. Like, I know boyfriend was all excited and stuff, and I know that he was talking shit like a lot anyway, but I'm like, dude, just sing the song. It's not difficult. Like, it's not a little difficult at all. Like, it's not that difficult. But man, it drove me a little bit nuts. But at least it was kind of funny to kind of react to that anyways. Like, I'm like, dude, it was like the longest time. I mean, seriously, literally, the longest time I had ever reacted to that for the longest time. Like, here in 2026, I finally reacted to the Friday Night Funkin' movie, and I got that done easy peasy. But after likely, I think I did kind of got the whole thing done in the afternoon, and then all the way to the nighttime before that ended exactly. Like you guys can see, like the light fading away from a few times from the window, which I was like, oh my god, finally! I just finally got the video out because I know I was gonna pray to God if that actually ended in a currently bad way. If my phone ever went down to zero, it's game over. Like if it went down to zero, that's actually game over. Which, that would suck, absolutely suck if it went down to 0%. That would have totally sucked. Which, I mean, yeah, that tells a lot of questions, which that would suck absolutely. So it probably would suck. So, I finally got the Friday Night Funkin' movie done by actually reacting to two videos of those, which I finally got those done, by the way, which, I finally got them done. And of course, on like, the other topic I actually want to mention about the animatronics again, by the way, was that, the only voice actors I finally did, by the way, for Bonnie, by the way, I think for me, I actually definitely got Woody, a different Woody who actually voiced Bonnie the Bunny, which, I was supposed to make the goofy impression, which, I think Bonnie does come around to a goofy noise, but actually when I say it's like, like, it was supposed to kind of sound like Goofy. Like, it actually would sound goofy to me, right? Because, I mean, I don't know. I know. Bonnie was supposed to kind of sound, a bit insanely funny a little bit when he actually makes that noise between like himself and Goofy. It's just the funniest phrase I ever kind of did on my fourth channel, by the way. I actually literally voiced Bonnie for that one, which, I think, like I said, it did come down with me and pretty much Woody actually making like a very good impressionable voice of Bonnie anyway, but it actually was pretty good. So, I don't know how good I was doing that, but let me just go ahead and do another good impression for you guys how Bonnie would sound like this. So let me go ahead and do this. So I'm gonna say it's like, hey everybody, it's Bonnie the Bunny, and welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. That's right, I'm your host. I'm Bonnie the Bunny, or should I say, I'm your favorite lovable bunny animatronic or rabbit animatronic. I am Bonnie the Bunny. It's supposed to sound goofy. And yes, it's literally supposed to kind of sound like Bonnie anyway. My own sounded version of Bonnie. Like, literally, for real. Like, yes, absolutely, again, for real. Like, yes, Bonnie was supposed to sound like Goofy. And also, for the reason why everybody would say is like, bro, why does Bonnie sound like Goofy? Yes, he actually does sound like Goofy. And I'm like, yeah, that was actually a good voice I did for Bonnie. And yeah, that's probably why I even did that voice to begin with, right there. That's exactly why. Now, the next voice I have to say to let you guys know about Chica, well, the voice I do for Chica, by the way, I think Chica's, by the way, is kind of likely a bit of a high normal pitch a little bit, which I think it's kind of like that kind of side of the pitch a little bit. Because, I mean, for me, it does kind of hurt my throat a little bit while doing Chica, but hey, at least I try to do a bit naturally as a bit Chica by any chance, which that's what I probably do as Chica. But, if I were to do this, by the way, I would say is like, hello everyone, I'm Chica the Chicken. Let's eat and meet my cupcake. I'm a cupcake. Cupcake, 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 cupcake. I know Cupcake doesn't talk, by the way, but it's just my own imitation of Cupcake. But, seriously, that's just my own imitation of Cupcake. But anyway, for Chica's voice, by the way, you guys can probably know why, in my opinion, I do Chica, is that I do sometimes of Chica having a little bit of some interesting role for mid roll a little bit for actually having my voice in my Adam's apple, not to kind of hurt, by the way, aka my throat, by the way. My voice box, by the way. That's probably why I'd say that, Chica's voice box, by the way, I do is just very incredible. And you guys want to know who voiced Chica, by the way? The only voice who I voiced Chica was Elsa. you know, like literally. I'm not talking about like Elsa from Frozen. No, I'm not talking about Frozen. I'm talking about like the Elsa. The Elsa, by the way, who voiced Chica, by the way. Yep, that's how I actually voiced Chica, by the way, for that reason. So, yeah, and pretty much. And oh, yeah, for Cupcake, by the way, that's definitely probably my voice. I do interpretation of Cupcake, and yeah. And also, my next favorite character is Foxy. Yep, I get to voice Foxy. And for those who might say, is like, Yo, are you that good doing voice of Foxy? The answer is like, yes, yo. I actually know how to do the voice of Foxy. Like, I would do this. Ahoy, everybody. It's a me, Foxy the Pirate Fox. Yah! It be me, Foxy the Pirate Fox. And then the other voice I would do is Foxy by saying, like, hello, everyone. I'm Foxy the Pirate Fox. Yah! It's me, Foxy the Pirate Fox. Yah! I be Foxy the Pirate Fox. And, let me tell you some good, interesting stories, lad. Let me tell you some interesting stories where I was on a pirate ship once. Yeah, that's how actually I do good as a Foxy voice. That is a Foxy voice because I mean, for me, I mastered the voice for like the longest time ever since I played the game of the original first game. Man, that actually changed my whole perspective of Foxy of when I actually like doing that voice because I mean, it's either two ways of those voices. By the way, is either a the regular voice I just did was like the regular pirate voice by saying like Yahar, it's me, Foxy the Pirate Fox. Yahar! What's up, everybody? Yahar! And then the other voice is a little different because the other voice, because by the way, was kind of a little cracked because I mean, for my voice, I can't like physically just do the other voice. By the way, when Foxy does this one, he does like this. Hello, everybody. I'm Foxy the Pirate Fox. Yahar! It's me, Foxy. That's probably why I can't do the second voice because I think the first voice is kind of a bit better because I know I tried doing a little bit without my I know without actually like killing my voice box by the way. So I'd say that yeah, I'd say that my voice box is pretty okay at least, which I try my best to kind of like not go too hard on the impressions by the way, but I really do good voicing by the way, and a lot of good voice acting I do is just incredible. I do like the very best ones by the way. So yeah, that's how I probably do the best ones exactly. Now, if you guys do like the first voice, by the way, yes, the first voice I did, by the way, was that good. The first one, by the way, was actually a pretty good one. Now, here comes the next one, by the way, that we have next is Golden Freddy, by the way. So here's the voice behind Golden Freddy. Like the only voice I actually did for Golden Freddy, by the way. That yes, the only character who voiced Golden Freddy was Mr. Evil. As what Jacob said, by the way, that when he said Doctor Evil, he almost said Mr. Evil. I don't know if Jacob ever did say I don't know if Jacob ever did say with basically about like with Golden Freddy, that's actually like pretty much saying is like for him, his voice is like this. Ha 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 ha. It's me, Golden Freddy. It's me. It's me. I gotta say, by the way, that seriously, the only voice who I did for Mr. Evil is that character that I voiced for Golden Freddy was like the perfect voice line I did was absolute cinema. That was absolute cinema, which, that was actually good. Very good voice I did. And yeah, so as in for Shadow Freddy, by the way, yep, I voice Shadow Freddy currently, by the way. Yep, regular voice I do for Shadow Freddy is definitely my regular voice, so it's probably what I did. And then, of course, well, Phone Guy, yeah, pretty much my own voice, a little bit of Phone Guy, and Scott, by the way, that did Phone Guy as well. Which currently, that yes, Phone Guy, by the way, for those who do not do or don't know about that Phone Guy trader, which yes, for once he did kind of got killed by Golden Freddy in the first game. For those who didn't see the first game, by the way, yep, he actually definitely got killed by Golden Freddy. Not the other animatronics, but Golden Freddy was the one who got to him first, I think. Yeah, I think it was definitely Golden Freddy. I mean, yes, Golden Freddy was actually the one who actually instantly got the Phone Guy at somewhere and killed him at that night. And yeah, it was pretty insane. And the only voice I do for Phone Guy by saying is like, hello, welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and we're fun and we're fun and imaginary things that come to life, or fun fantasy come to life, like for pretty much like a lot of things exactly. Yeah, for me, by the way, my voice of Phone Guy is a little rusty, but I'd say again, the Phone Guy role is pretty good, and I like the role of Phone Guy. It's just a very good voice in my opinion. It's really good, but it's just that sometimes it really tells me a lot of things by saying how good the voice does, but the voice is really good. Anyway, so the voice of Mike Smith and David Parks, by the way, yep. Actually, again, by the way, it's definitely gonna have to be regular voice. Yeah, my regular voice of those characters. Yep. When I say it's regular voice, by the way, you do know it's definitely regular voice, by the way. So it's probably definitely like a regular voice. And speaking of having a regular voice, by the way, actually, is that currently about however exactly with Purple Guy, yep, currently the same thing as I say that, yep. The only characters I actually do say that how many roles I got, by the way, for whoever I actually play as, that the only characters I do play as, by the way, is Foxy, Shadow Freddy, and Mike Schmidt, David Parks, and Purple Guy, and then somewhat Phone Guy. Yeah, I think those would definitely be like 5 or 6 of those voice lines I do, by the way. Currently, by the way, that I actually have my own roles inside, by the way, that I definitely actually voice the characters, by the way, that actually gone through like my regular voice. But no, Foxy doesn't have a regular voice. He's supposed to sound like a pirate because, he's always supposed to kind of sound like a pirate to me, so he definitely kind of sounds like a pirate. But for me, by the way, yes, the regular voice I just do, by the way, is Shadow Freddy, Mike Schmidt, David Parks, which I know David Parks is like the current owner of Freddy Fazbear's, which I definitely do the voice of David because the main reason why I say David Parks, by the way, was because I watched a Zapper 770 video, SFM video, where it actually tells me, I was like, when I actually did kind of looked into the FNAF lore exactly of like, Zapper 770, by the way, of his content, bro, his content is good. Like his content's actually good. Like, the reason why I'd say David Parks is like the best fitting role option for me to like was because it really actually tells me a lot. It was like a better solution role that I ever kind of liked. Yes, the only thing I liked right there was the best thing I ever heard right there when Freddy himself, by the way, in that universe of, Zapper 770's video, he said was like, David Parks. It was like referring to the purple guy, but it wasn't actually referring to purple guy just yet. I know it was like from a different universe, but from my own universe, in the Fourth Channels universe, by the way, I actually did take the place for David Parks, the the next role of the CEO and boss of Freddy Fazbear's, pretty much. Which, yeah, that's pretty much why I'd say that. So, yep, that's all I have to say, by the way. And I know, trust me, it's pretty crazy. And I did kind of pick that role and pick that side, by the way, of actually deciding to kind of like that decision. So I'd say, yeah, I kind of made that decision. And for some reason, David Parks actually was currently the owner of Freddy Fazbear's. And it's pretty damning, by the way. It's actually pretty damning. So I'd say, yep, absolute pretty damning. Pretty damning. But anyway, the next role I did, by the way, for the next one was Purple Guy. Yep, Purple Guy I do is my regular voice I do is Purple Guy. The evil version of Purple Guy where he actually is evil, actually, which, yep, I do a pretty good role of Purple Guy, which the reason I'd say I do a pretty interesting role of Purple Guy, I would say is like, oh yes, I am the Purple Guy. That's right. I am the 1987's killer, and I will be ready to get you soon. Yep, that's exactly why I do a good voice of Purple Guy. Only regular voice, but a bit of a good imitation, evil sounding like of a voice. That actually is good. Really good voice, by the way. I actually do a very good voice of Purple Guy. So if anyone else does want to say this in the chat, by the way, by saying, like, oh, how good do you do a good Purple Guy impression, by the way? Trust me, it's all because I do good regular voice of Purple Guy because it's just interesting, Once like you get a good voice out of any of these characters, by the way, you actually get a good imitation and a very good impressionist, by the way. Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting, by the way. And Jacob said, cool. I know, right? Yeah, absolutely, by the way. Absolutely, by the way. Yeah, really true, by the way. It's actually pretty true. So you're definitely right, Jacob. Definitely correct. And speaking of correct, by the way, that we're almost kind of near likely halfway at the end of the live stream, which I think so far we're at like, I don't know, I think we're kind of like at 1 hour and 39 minutes and 45 seconds, but we're still doing pretty good timing a little bit before I will confirm the end of the live stream right now. But For now, I didn't end the live stream yet, but when I say it's confirmed time, that means it's time we're gonna have to wrap up the live stream and definitely end it from there, and just end it from there. So, anyway, let me get to one more time before we do consider getting right on to like the whatever where else we're gonna probably talk about next. But anyway, the next one I actually do, by the way, is Springtrap. So the reason why I do a very good voice of Springtrap is because it's supposed to sound so evil, by the way, and sounds so evil. It's supposed to sound so evil and sound so deep. Very deep evil. When I actually do a good voice of Springtrap like this by saying it's like, I am Springtrap, and I always come back. That's right. I am Springtrap, and I kill those children of those bastards. And I'll do it again. Yeah, that's how I do a good voice of Springtrap. Like, seriously, it's an absolute cinema. Like, absolutely again. Like, I do a very good voice of Springtrap sometime because I do a really good one. Because the reason I'd say it's a good one, by the way, it's supposed that you have to bring a deeper voice a little bit of that character, and it's supposed to be that imitating a lot. Like, for a reason I'd say that yes, it does sound so imitating and sounds so demonically evil. It's just so funny to me, by the way. It's actually so funny to me where I'd say it's like, oh my god, is it the voice of Springtrap? Is that the voice I do of Springtrap? Oh man, that is whack and pretty crazy to know why. Like I do a very good imitation of Springtrap. Like seriously, a good imitation of Springtrap. Oh jeez, like holy jeez, like jeez, like holy god, like jeez. But anyway, for real though, like yes, absolutely. So anyway, that's pretty much where we all got today, right there. And oh yeah, by any chance about Jeremy Fitzgerald? Yep, the voice I do for Jeremy Fitzgerald, definitely my regular voice of Jeremy Fitzgerald and Mike Schmidt, because I think I would say on a safety spot. By the way, I think I currently just say the regular voice is better because if I can't do the voice, by the way, sometimes it means I might have to kind of say like, what? How about if we just go on with a normal voice anyway and say if my if my voice box doesn't like kill my throat, by the way, by actually not getting the right impression, by the way, of the character that actually was supposed to get a good impression of it. But it's pretty much why I'd say if I were to say, if I do a regular voice, it means I'll go with it, by the way, and just go along with it, by the way, and just say it will probably be confirmed anyway by me. So yeah, that's probably why I'd say that. So trust me, when I say I do all voice of every characters, I do literally all voices of every characters anyway. Like, for example, I do every characters on every channel I make. A lot. So anyway, I guess it's about time to say that we're gonna go ahead and just say that we pretty much have like a few more questions left before we do end the live stream. But I think like I said, we might end the questions in 5 seconds. By the way, but for those who might want to like mention another question right now, by the way, then feel free to respond to any question, and I'll be able to respond it. So yeah. And also, as I said before, again, by the way, actually, is if you guys do want to see the secret live stream, by the way, let me tell you guys one more time before we definitely get to the end of the live stream right here. So remember the facts, by the way, is this. So for those who want to join, for those who may want to like go to my community post and say and make some guesses on the community post by saying is like, oh, something I do want to mention, by the way, about the community post, by the way, is if you guys actually do want to mention about like a secret live stream that I will be like hosting a secret live stream, which that's definitely going to be like the fourth installment live stream I'm going to probably be making, is that yes, it's going to like confirm something that you guys can have to like come up with you guys yourselves, by the way, that come up with, by the way, is by saying is like, oh, what secret live stream are you talking about? Well, the secret live stream I'm gonna actually be talking about, by the way, is that if you guys can like name something, by the way, and physically kind of name like something that would actually be pretty cool, by the way, to kind of hear about, by the way, yes, it could definitely be about like an interview, like myself to interview myself to you guys about like like me being the second king of Finest of Freddy's, or it could be something else, by the way, or a bit like my it could be like my team's. It could be actually like my teenager self and my teenager self, or basically with likely my adult version of myself, probably. Not really sure, but it probably does make sense anyway to kind of know why. It probably would sound pretty cool, but if you guys do want to come up with something very interesting that I've not actually done, by the way, and like whatever exactly, we'll see what happens. But in this main question, like I said, I'll give you guys like 4 minutes, by the way, about like mention about a secret live stream. But if you guys can think of something, by the way, then I'll actually confirm the live stream myself, by the way, and I'll actually confirm like the secret live stream being enabled, and I'll see what I can do from there. I'll actually, like I said, I'll definitely enable the secret live stream once I will enable it when one snap, by the way, after like the 4 minutes are done, by the way. Then yes, I'll actually, like I said again, confirm the secret live stream for you guys, that I will actually will mention about like having an interview with with you guys, the fans, and myself as a creator. But we'll see what happens. Like, I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what goes on, what I could come up with, by the way, and see what goes on anyway. But we'll see what happens anyway. But so Jacob said, "Evil Live, Evil Live." Nice. Evil Live. I like that right there. Yeah, I definitely like where Jacob said Evil Live, or Evil Live, or something like that. Yeah, pretty much. Or Live. Yeah. So, anyway, let's go ahead and check on top fans, by the way, since we're going to currently go to top fans, by the way. So, here it is, everybody. Here it is what we have on top fans, by the way. So, before we do go ahead and check on top fans, by the way, in another second, by the way, and yes, by the way, I'll definitely read top fans, by the way. So, what we have on top fans, by the way, is Jacob G8506. Yep, that's right. Jacob G8506, by the way, has 150 XP, by the way, on top fans. Congratulations to Jacob, that actually is on top fans right there, with 150 XP right there. Congrats. And the person who's in second right there is Mary right there. Yeah, that Mary, by the way, that she, by the way, actually has like 85 XP right there in second place next to Jacob right there. So nice. Really good XPs, by the way. Nice. Very good XPs. And the next one we have right here is Melivaneli 7684, has 85 XP. Congratulations. Awesome job, by the way. Absolutely amazing. Now, the next person we have is BHAVYABHAVYA 8772, has 50 XP, fourth place. Interesting. And the next person we have is for fifth place, by the way, is Alex IAURBINA with 25 XP in fifth place. Nice. That's pretty based. That's very based. Now, here comes the long word, by the way, in number sixth place, by the way. Yep. For the one who's in sixth place right there is GGTYHHGGHGVVBVXDSSSS with 25 XP in sixth place. Wow, that's pretty very well fought right there. I know it's pretty much tied in fifth place, by the way. I know there's like a tie, by the way, with like fifth place pretty much. I can understand why there's a tie right there, but at least I'm not going to judge it. At least I'm not going to totally judge it, but at least, at least that makes sense. Like for 25 XP, it makes sense for tying for fifth place. Now, as in for finally, for the person who's in seventh place, by the way, and here's the person who actually is in seventh, by the way, we have here is AALIYH Michelle EEE with 10 XP. That is in seventh, by the way, with 10 XP. Yep, those are definitely all the top fans, by the way. that we have 7 people that were actually on top fans, by the way, that we have like 7 people, like 7, like literally 7 with the XPs right there. That is really amazing right there. That's actually amazing. Not gonna lie, by the way, that actually is pretty amazing right there. Which, I mean, that's pretty amazing. Which, as like I said beforehand, that I'm always gonna check on I'm always gonna check on top fans, by the way, so that way I'll be able to kind of check on like, if anybody's ever like gotten XPs, by the way. That I definitely did recently checked, by the way, and it actually means that I would always have to check it on every live stream sometimes. Well, not always every live stream, but sometimes I always will check it on either my phone or laptop. It just makes sense anyway if I would have taken a look, by the way. But just remember this, by the way, if you guys do want to like consider still actually give me a few questions, by the way, while still like continue to keep talking a little bit before I end the live stream, which I think the live stream we might end a little bit is I think like I said, it definitely ended in like the 5 second mark, by the way. 5 seconds has definitely ended, which means the live stream is about to come to an end, by the way. So remember this, and all 4 things you guys have to do, remember, is this. So give this video a like and comment and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified, so that way you guys again do not miss a single video that comes on this channel. And oh yeah, about like NFL football, I just want to let you guys know on like football that's been going on in preseason is that yeah, I'm not too happy with like my favorite secondary team, the Houston Texans, losing to the Chargers. I'm like, really? Really, Los Angeles Chargers? Really? Like, bro, are you seriously kidding me? Like, for real? Like, really? Like, you guys had to lose to that team, which I'm like, in their own stadium with, our own stadium. I'm like, bro, seriously, what? Like, yeah, pretty much it tells me why I'm just saying is like WTH. I'm like WTH and WTF. I'm like, seriously, it's the same thing as I said twice by saying is like, yeah, I wasn't really too happy by seeing I wasn't really too happy by seeing the Texans actually losing to the Chargers, which is just oh freaking god darn it. I was like, God freaking darn it. I was like, are you serious? Like, there's no freaking way they actually lost to the Chargers. Like, I mean, I know it's preseason and all, and I know that regular season hasn't started yet, but I can understand why. But I'm like, dude, are you freaking kidding me? And are you like freaking jacking me right now? Which I know it's supposed to be a word by saying is like, I don't know. I think it was supposed to be a lumberjack joke or something by saying is like, are you like lumberjacking me right now? By saying is like, bro, are you serious? Like, yeah, are you serious? And the next question about that too, by the way, was Seahawks challenging Dallas Cowboys yesterday, and I'm like, for those who may tell me by saying is like, oh, has Dallas Cowboys beat the current champion Seahawks? The answer is that no. And I know this is going to be like a hard word for me to say, for most likely for people out there who are like Cowboys fans, exactly for like Dallas. But I mean, let me tell you guys this kind of story a little bit. Let me give you guys this example that the Cowboys, no, they've not actually beat the current champions. That is my favorite team, the Seahawks. No, they did not beat the Seahawks, by the way, in the finals. If they were to beat the finals, by the way, yeah, sorry, Cowboys. Sorry, Dallas Cowboys. You guys did not win jack. You guys did not win jack crap. You guys did not win absolute crap, by the way. I'm not saying this to be mean, by the way, but I know there's like some delusional for Cowboys sometimes that may actually want to like incorrect some other people by saying that like, oh, they just have like a bit of a syndrome of a Cowboys syndrome thing, by the way, where they just don't want to kind of like admit shit for not saying is like, oh, we just don't want to admit it. We're just the best. Like, that's seriously, again, that's narcissism right there. That's absolutely narcissism right there. That's absolutely narcissism right there. Like, okay, first of all, no, Cowboys did not beat the Seahawks in regular season, which if they did, by the way, yes, you actually probably would say that you're correct if some people were Cowboys fans of Dallas, which, I mean, who would and who wouldn't exactly for that question, is that no, they did not beat the Seahawks in regular season. They just beat them They just actually just beat my main favorite team, the Seahawks, in preseason, which I know that doesn't count, which it never ever counts. It never literally counts. So again, it never actually counts. So the answer is that no, the Cowboys did not beat the Seahawks, and it doesn't prove anything. Which I know they did beat them one try, by the way. I know that the Cowboys they did beat the Seahawks in one try, and I'm like, yeah, I was kind of screaming. I was kind of pissed off a little bit by seeing Seahawks losing to the Cowboys for one time in the preseason. I was like, bro, are you serious? Like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, I know that some quarterbacks are in some precisions, by the way. That's actually a Sam Donald's precision, by the way. But, it's so funny that I find this funny, by the way, when Cowboys are saying is like, oh, we have better defense than the Seahawks are, aka Seahawk chickens. But yeah, I'm going to say that no. Cowboys had not won, what I'm about to say with the S word, but they did not win anything. They did not win anything in regular season just yet, but in that answer describes alone, no. The Cowboys did not win nothing. They did not win anything. But preseason does kind of count less for them winning one time, but it still never again doesn't count for beating the champs because, we were the champs last year. My boys, Seahawks, by the way, my main favorite team, the Seattle Seahawks, that's currently my favorite team out there, the boys that wins like the Super Bowl against the Patriots, by the way, of New England. So yeah, that's probably why it tells a lot. So anyway, just want to give you guys some context, by the way, and some real FYI a little bit by saying is that no, Cowboys do not count for beating Seahawks in regular season. It never counts. It doesn't count. Like, of course, I know that they say is like, oh, we beat the Seahawks in preseason. That has to count. Buddy, if you would have think somewhere in the freaking shack of a box, you would have probably would have like literally would have been like the next Genie 2.0. Like you've been the genie of a 2.0. Like for real. I'm not trying to diss the Dallas Cowboys, which I'm not trying to diss them, by the way. I'm just saying is like, bro, you have to be so freaking dumb by saying is like literally saying is like if Seahawks would have lost to Cowboys in preseason, it doesn't actually count. Like it doesn't count. Like it never counts. Like for real, by the way. I'm actually being honest with you guys, by the way. It doesn't count. Like literally, it never counts. But anyway, with this being said, everyone, I think it's time. Like I said, I think this is like going to be a little bit of a longer live stream than expected. But, I think we're going to go ahead and end the live stream now and wrap the whole live stream up. So remember this, by the way, if you guys give this video a like and comment and subscribe to the bell to be notified, by the way, feel free to absolutely subscribe and feel free to become a real Devin-Foxy fan. And oh yeah, for those who want to be a real Devin-Foxy fan out there, go on and subscribe to my main channel and my separate channels, by the way, and become a real Devin-Foxy fan. And do not be a faker, by the way. Do not be a fake Devin-Foxy fan who's a faker that doesn't care exactly. So remember, for people who do care about me exactly on my channel, you guys actually go ahead and subscribe because, my fans, by the way, you guys are my fans, are like really amazing. So my real fans, by the way, would know what I would be saying, that I would always would tell the truth, most of the truth, and sometimes truth and a bit of half lies, but with half truths and half lies sometimes, I always would actually get the truths always completely right, and every role exactly, in every role play I do is correct. So I'd say again, if you're a real Devin-Foxy fan that has the guts and the glory and the facts for being a real Devin-Foxy fan, then I encourage everyone to subscribe to my main channel and my separate channels, by the way. And I mean absolutely right now. So if you guys want to go and do that, by the way, I'd say with courage, subscribe to my separate channels. Thank you. And without that being said, anyway, I will see you guys later. And please remember to give this video a like and comment, subscribe to the bell to be notified and all. So go and do that, by the way. And do these 4 things, by the way. And that way, you'll be a new person to the channel. And Jacob G8506 says, garlic. Garlic emoji. Garlic, 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 garlic. Garlic. Oh my god, garlic. Yeah, garlic, man. Garlic. So, pardon me. Anyway, so yeah, looks like Jacob once again definitely added the garlic emoji. Nice. LOL. LOL from Jacob. LOL. Anyway, so with this being said, and with that being said, likely as wise to be said again, and thank you guys so much for watching this live stream. It really means a lot to me. By the way, I would say that actually makes me feel very happy. By the way, because I mean, I do like people having like. I really do like loving people to come into the live stream often. I actually do love my fans when they actually do come into my live stream sometimes. Like, it just makes me feel happy, by the way, when people actually, make me feel I'm like respected, by the way. In many ways, by the way. If some people do make me feel respected, by the way, it means I might actually want to make more live streams, by the way, sometime in the future. But anytime when some people don't appear in the live stream sometimes, it means that some people, I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but sometimes it's kind of a little rude not to kind of like get in the live stream sometimes. Like, if I was waiting for hours, by the way, literally consciously for hours and hours of waiting. It's just that sometimes I may want to like spend a few more hours before I do end the live stream anyway, just for like an early session thing to end it, or currently just a on time of the end the live stream thing that it might be too late. That might come back in the live stream. So that's just my advice for people that people might need to kind of understand that too on the end of the part of this timestamp is that whenever people that do come into the live stream, by the way, it's just that when people do come into the live stream, respected and makes me feel supportive, by the way. But when people say is like, oh, when people are like don't appear in the live stream often and sometimes not too often or whatever, it's just kind of rude. You know what I mean exactly. If you guys know what I'm talking about, if you know what I'm saying, by the way, it's kind of a bit rude. It's just a bit rude, by the way, in my opinion. It's just kind of rude. Hey, at least the live stream, like I said, in this one right now, is pretty good so far, and I'll respect myself for that. This live stream is still good, and I will still again respect that, by the way. And the live stream itself, by the way, is just pretty natural and very good so far. It's like really good so far. It's just very good so far, and I respect that, by the way. It's really good. So I want to let you guys know about. But anyway, with this being said right now, that I am yours truly and your host, or should I say the host of this live stream, by the way, is Green Devin-Foxy, remastered, by the way. And as in for like the secret live stream question, by the way, as I said, by the way, yes, it's going to get closer as you guys think, by the way. But when the secret live stream does get revealed in 4 minutes for you guys to like respond in the comments section, by the way, on like the on the community post, by the way, just to kind of guess what the live stream name is going to probably be for the secret live stream. It's either going to be like whatever that you guys can come up with exactly. So feel free to respond in the comments section on the on the community post. But if not, by the way, that's totally fine. It might go down all the way down to 0 anyways, and it will be confirmed by me actually coming up with a different name for that live stream. So I can give you guys that information of that right now. But we'll see what happens. We'll see where this goes on anyway. But we'll see where this goes. But as of now, folks, this is yours truly to be. That my name is, well, my name, of course, exactly is Green Devin-Foxy Remastered, by the way. And speaking about my name, I actually am about to go ahead and sign right off and sign right out anyway. So if you guys have any questions in the comments or in the chat, by the way, then be sure to say it now. If you guys have any questions, then say it now. And, feel free if you want to, but that's totally natural. But if anybody does want to save more questions later on a different live stream next time, then, be my guest if you want to. Just be my guest and feel free to, like, save some questions for later and then maybe save some for later again. But, I appreciate that for everybody. And I do want to say congratulations to, like, the 7 people that made it to the live stream. Really appreciate it, and very actually appreciative. Very appreciative to like the 7 people, by the way, that made it to the live stream. Congrats. And absolutely again, congratulations. So yeah, congratulations. And Jacob says Homer, like Homer Simpson. Imagine if I said the word Homer Simpson. LOL. Oh yeah, LOL. If I said that already, That would have been pretty funny. And Jacob said Homer. Yeah, Homer! Homer! What are you doing there, Homer? Imagine if I said that for context. For saying is like, how you doing there, Homer? How you doing there, homie? And Homer? It sounds the same. Trust me. When you say the word Homer and homie, it sounds closely to be the freaking same word. Like it's this almost the same word. I'm like, man, how many same words can we say for a rhyme that actually rhymes for many reasons? I don't know. Infinitely Forever, probably. Infinitely Forever of those names is just like, yeah, maybe Infinitely Forever for those rhymes. But yeah, just probably so. But anyway, with that being said, anyway, yeah, that's probably why that was kind of funny from when Jacob said that. LOL. Absolutely LOL. All right, so with that being said, everyone, right now, I will say this, by the way, thank you guys for participating to be in the live stream. It means a lot to my channel. It means a lot to my on my live stream, by the way. It really means a lot, by the way. Thank you. And with that being said, right now, everyone, it is time officially. We're definitely going to get going and sign off the live stream. And also, like I said, by the way, that yes, the confirmation is definitely going to be happening with the FNAF arc of Blood Bear. That yes, that Blood Bear will be mentioned, by the way. That whenever I get the right timing and mention that yes, he'll be mentioned. And yes, the whole FNAF arc thing I'll react to. Yes, I'll definitely react to most of that. And kind of go through the video audio files pretty much exactly about the corruption video files, what Bloodbear does exactly. So yes, the Bloodbear arc video reaction for me to talk about, yes, it's going to get pretty closer and very soon to actually be described and will be released on some video on the release date whenever I might be ready to kind of talk about that character. Yep, it would be the right time, by the way, and almost currently might be the exact right time. If I were to get on the right time, by the way, yes, it might be in confirmation that I will definitely talk about that, by the way. So it might be the right time if I talk about Blood Bear, then yes, I'll actually get on board with that and will somewhat talk about that pretty soon and see where this goes anyway. But here we go. So yeah. The next person we have on the chat, by the way, is KUROMIV9C. Welcome to the live stream, by the way. Welcome to the live stream. And, I think you kind of did miss the live stream, by the way, but, you made it to the live stream, by the way, which, I was about to kind of end the live stream, by the way, but, this kind of works too, by the way. This actually kind of works as well, but, thanks for coming to the live stream, by the way. I appreciate that, so appreciate it, by the way. I definitely appreciate it to you, KUROMIV9C. Appreciate it. Like, thanks for coming to the live stream, by the way. Thank you. So, anyways, yeah. So, thank you for coming to the live stream and appreciate it. So, thank you. And also, just want to let you guys know on the updated thing, by the way, on the release date about the FNAF arc is that when I might release the FNAF arc pretty soon, it means I will be able to release it, and I think I will release it under like 2 more reaction videos, probably after like 2 more reaction videos will probably be done, by the way. Then yes, it means I might actually confirm about the whole arc thing, about the whole scenario, about the Blood Bear arc thing, which I will definitely mention it pretty soon. But once I mention it, by the way, then yes, I actually am looking forward to kind of talk about that character for the longest time. It might go after the character probably, which, yeah, that identity character is disturbing. So for those who do not know who that character is, yep, the character is disturbing, and it's disturbing as AF, by the way. So it's pretty disturbing as AF. So pretty much. And anyway, back to the question. So, all right. So for the person that said that was KUROMIV9C said, I was getting a haircut. And it was short now. Oh, nice. Awesome. Awesome. Congratulations. Awesome. Awesome for you to get a haircut. Nice. Good for you, by the way. Good for you. And, good for you, by the way. Good for you. Nice. Awesome. That's pretty good, but, awesome, by the way. That's pretty amazing. So, anywho, yeah. So, if you guys enjoyed this live stream, then hope that you guys enjoyed it, and hope that you guys enjoyed it. And I think, like I said, I think we may stick around a little bit more, a little bit before we kind of do end the live stream a little bit. But yeah, I think something was trying to do something a little bit. I think, as I said before, again, like I said, the if you guys can, like I said, if you guys can still hear me through like avoiding the lag a little bit, if the lag doesn't continue to keep lagging, but if like I said, if the signal bars are not likely parts are not listening to me, then it's just sometimes it's gonna not kind of listen. By the way, so I don't know why the signal bars won't kind of listen to me anyway. But as I said beforehand, that yep, as I said, by the way, nice haircut, by the way. Absolutely nice haircut. That, I'm referring to KUROMIV9. Congratulations for your haircut. Congratulations. Congrats. So, anyway, congratulations. And I think we'll probably stick a little longer, a little bit before we end the live stream anyway. But, um, oh yeah, give me a hug. Aw, that's nice. All right, well, I'll give you a hug, by the way. I'll just give you like a visible hug, by the way. But, I might do this, by the way. I might do this. There's your hug, by the way. There's a hug. I know I was hugging a phone, by the way. I know, I know. I know I was hugging through a phone, by the way. I know. It's funny, but as I said again, by the way, I know. I really get that. I really get that. But if I was hugging a phone, yes, it's called like a virtual hug, by the way. But I was going to like this, by the way. I was doing this with my fans, by the way. Just for like that, by the way. But very respectful. Thank you. You're welcome, by the way. You're welcome. You're definitely welcome, by the way. You're welcome. You know, you're definitely welcome, KUROMIV9C. You're welcome. You're welcome. And, you're definitely welcome. And yeah, like I said, I don't usually do with likely hugs with like the phone thing, but at least I kind of actually did it for one time, so I appreciate that. And it looks like KUROMIV9C says bye and was waving the bye emoji and the smile emoji. All right, well, see you later too. By the way, see you later too, and congratulations. Like I said, congrats on your haircut. So congratulations, by the way. So congrats. And I'll definitely see you in the next video, by the way. So, yeah, I'll definitely see you next time. So, anyway, it's time we're gonna go ahead and end the live stream for real. But if you guys have anything to say, by the way, before we end the live stream, then go ahead and say it now, by the way, before we end it, by the way. But for those who want to save the questions for later, then I advise you to save the questions for later until another live stream is mentioned or whatever. But as I said beforehand, thank you guys again for coming to the live stream. It means a lot, by the way. It really does mean a lot to my channel, by the way. So thank you guys for coming to this live stream. I appreciate that. And appreciate for coming into the quick chats part 14, by the way. Part 14 of quick chats, by the way. Appreciate that. So with that being said, everyone, this is yours truly to be Green Devin-Foxy Remastered speaking. And you guys can call me Green Devin-Foxy Remastered, by the way. So with that being said, everyone, see you guys absolutely later. Take care, everybody. And man, my other wrist is just sore from holding my phone. Jeez, I didn't realize my wrist was even that sore for almost like 2 dang hours. Jeez, my freaking wrist. I was like, damn, my wrist is just bro, my wrist was almost for freaking 2 hours. I was even holding my phone for 2 hours for that wrist to even be the longest hold for almost for 2 dang hours. I'm like, ow. I'm just ow. For some reason, I'm like, ow. For some reason, I don't know why. I mean, it reminds me of hearing the word by saying is ow, and saying is ow and ow. Because I mean, it reminds me of many reasons by hearing the word by saying the word owl. It's so funny. I kept remembering by hearing the word by somebody saying imagine if you say the word owl and then you say the word owl. It sounds the same. I'm like, yeah, it kind of has the same with the owl in it, with the A or O on it, which is so much the same right there. But yeah, for real though, that was just an advice. But anyway, let me go ahead and check on top fans, by the way, one more time. Just to update the top fans, by the way. So let me go and check out the top fans, by the way. And so far, by the way, we have is KUROMIVC has with 75 XP. Yep, is in fourth place, by the way. Congratulations to KUROMIV9C with 75 XP. Next to two other people in third and fifth place, by the way. Dang, that is interesting, by the way. I think like a few people definitely moved down all the way to fifth, all the way down to eighth place. So nice. Awesome. Congrats. Awesome. So, anyways, with this being said, right now, I know this is like almost for 2 hours, by the way, so far this live stream, but hey, I guess we got pretty so far for 2 hours, but it was pretty good. So, with this being said already, with this being said as of right now, is thank you guys again for enjoying this live stream. I appreciate that, by the way, and I'm about to go ahead and sign right off, by the way. But if you guys have like more questions to give me, by the way, then you guys can do it now if you want to. But if you don't have to, that's totally fine. That's totally up to you guys. That's totally up to you guys and up to me, by the way. So if you guys can like give me a few more questions, by the way, I would definitely appreciate that. But for those who want to like respond, by the way, then feel free to respond anytime exactly. So feel free to respond. And Jacob G8506 said bye. See you later, Jacob. See you later, man. See you later. And yeah, so like that being said, if you guys want to know a live stream, by the way, it's going to be coming up to say that if I actually confirm another live stream, it means I'll actually confirm another live stream when I'm actually ready to get that out, by the way, and confirm it. So, anyways, with this being said, it is now time to sign off, and it's now time to get off for real and get pretty much have lunch, by the way, and get some lunch for me, by the way, because yeah, I don't want to get starving for lunch right now, but I will get lunch anyway and just, get lunch and then just enjoy what I got to do for the rest of the afternoon. And, for those who might know or not know, that might be on my regular channels on videos, by the way. So feel free to watch my main other channels, by the way, on my separate channels to take a look. So feel free, like I said, take a look on my separate channels, and that would be amazing and that would be appreciated. So feel free to check out on my main channels if you guys do or don't get bored. Then yes, go and check out my main channels, by the way, my separate channels, by the way. That would be amazing. And with this being said right now, see you guys later. Take care, everyone. And I love you. I love you guys as my fans, by the way. And I'm not trying to sound too off, by the way. I'm just trying to say, in a good way. I'm just saying that I love my fans, which I love, to myself, to you guys, that I love my fans, currently and truly my fans. So, that being said, see you guys later. Goodbye, and see you later as always, and sign right off. This is Green Devin-Foxy Remastered speaking. Take care, everyone. Have a good day, and we'll see you guys later, as always, in the next video. Goodbye, and sign off. Bye-bye, everyone. See you later, and